Color green, color green, color red, color red, color blue, color blue, color yellow, color, that doesn't really rhyme exactly. Can you see those colors? Can you see all those colors? Can you imagine that 300 million people worldwide cannot? They're colorblind. But 10 years ago, a company now called EnChroma changed all that. 10 years ago, they invented sunglasses that allow people to see in color for the very first time. And today, that's what we're celebrating. Welcome to EnChroma's 10 years of color. I know you're clapping out there. I can hear it. I can hear you clapping out there. My name is Don Reed. I'm an NPR storyteller, work with The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and I'm here today to be your host, MC, and take you through this journey in the color and to hear our story. There's going to be a lot of surprises, a lot of stuff going on. You're going to meet the inventor, the glasses. You're going to talk to and hear from viral video stars, people who have now amassed tens upon millions of hits along the line of the EnChroma story. You're going to hear about EnChroma in the news. You've been involved in New York Times, CBS News, hear about all of that. And you're going to hear about some amazing partnerships that EnChroma has joined forces with over these last 10 years. So another thing you're going to hear about is some huge discounts. We've got discounts coming at you. And you might want to take advantage of them because it's a deep discount on each of the items we're presented through over the course of today's show. Also, and this is very important, I really want you to catch this. Today, EnChroma will be going beyond color and introducing a brand new invention, something that EnChroma scientists worked on and now will be revealed to you today. Groundbreaking without question. Not just saying that, it really will be. You'll be able to experience that. So you might be wondering, how did I even get involved in all this? How did Don Reed, how did you get involved in this project, at all? Well, when I was in college, I worked with students who were visually impaired. I worked with students who were blind. What I did was I read books that were unavailable in Braille onto audio, all kinds of books, novels, sometimes magazines, didn't matter, but anything that was unavailable in Braille, I read it onto audio. And over that time, I got to know some visually impaired students. I got to know this one guy named Gonzalo Manzo, just bright Latinx kid who I got to know fairly well. And it was interesting noting how he navigated around the world with his sight challenges. And over time, that's just been one of my interests. Anytime I can read an article on anything about vision, I've been interested in it. Anything on the spectrum of vision. So when this came along, it was along that spectrum of interest, if you will. What vision is all about, what it's like trying to deal without it. Anytime anyone asks me if you had to give up one of your senses, the last one would be sight. Always the last one is sight. But I'll tell you something very interesting that happened to me recently during the process of developing this project with the founders and CEOs and the scientists. I came across someone I knew that I didn't know was colorblind. His name rhymes with Chris. Actually, his actual name is Chris. But someone working on the project let me know that they were colorblind. Now, here's the interesting thing, though. I worked with this guy for probably 3 or 4 years. We probably did 70 or 80 shows together. That's me performing live, doing one-man shows in the theater, telling my life stories about growing up in Oakland and living in retirement hotels and going to UCLA, different kinds of stories. But I was working with him every single week for like 70 or 80 performances. And he was the tech guy, but he also covered all the lighting And I had hues of blue and red and yellow in my shows. But he was colorblind, and somehow he was doing some kind of workaround. I'm sure that's what a lot of people who are colorblind are experienced before they experience EnChroma glasses, is they find ways to work around it so they won't be embarrassed, so they won't be made fun of. But what he doesn't know is at some point, I'm gonna surprise him with some EnChroma glasses. I have to, right? I kind of have to. Because he really has done a lot to work around it. He's been, somewhat successful with it, but now he'll be super successful once I get him these glasses. And that's gonna happen. So, moving right along here, you guys, I gotta tell you, we're gonna have some deep discounts. And I think right about now is a good time. Now would be a great time to announce one of those. To help me with that, I'm gonna shoot now to EnChroma Customer Support Manager, Belle Watson. Belle, you there?
Yes, I am, Don. Thanks so much. All right. Well, so my name is Belle Watson. I'm with EnChroma's support team. We're here to answer all of your questions. And right now I'm going to answer your first question, which is about that discount that Don has already mentioned. Our discount today is on the Derby frame. It is normally at $349. Today, though, it's on special for $299. You should look in the live chat for the link to get your own pair of Derbies at that special price.
Excellent. You guys want to take advantage of this because it's not going to be a regular deal that's online. Big chunk of money off when you're thinking about some really nice glasses that can change your life. And that's the thing about color. I don't know if we all recognize how much it's attached to emotion. Emotion is tied to color, reaction. And think of how many people might be missing out on experiences, memories, because they, don't have access to the full spectrum of the color. And so when you think about seeing these glasses, maybe you're not colorblind. Maybe surprise someone, get them as a gift, because it can impact them quite deeply. Certain of that. So listen, we're gonna have a lot of giveaways today. Actually, at the end of the show, I think 10. That's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 individuals will be receiving gifts from EnChroma. And we'll announce that near the end of the show. Also, near the end of the show, you want to hold on because we will be making that reveal of that groundbreaking invention from EnChroma and EnChroma going beyond color. I guarantee, with no hyperbole, this is going to blow your mind, without question. It blew mine, as you'll see later. So listen, we got a lot of people who signed up for this event. We got people in Australia, Romania, the Philippines, Hong Kong, Turkey, Egypt, Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, Cyprus, India, Peru, Japan, Singapore, Libya, Sweden, and the list goes on. People from all over the world. 300 million people are colorblind worldwide, and some of them are watching now. And maybe we're going to change a few lives today. Viral video stars are going to be coming up. We've got amazing footage from partnerships. We'll be doing the giveaways, as I mentioned, and we'll hear the EnChroma stories from the founders from the ground up. I think now it'd be a good time for us to move in to the body of the show, if we're ready. Is Don ready right now? Before you speak, Don, welcome. I want to say a couple of things about you. Look, there he is in the lab. You can see the lab behind him. That's where he gets the work done. Don's a fascinating, multifaceted guy, and also a stud athlete, if I might add that. He was in high school, he was an all-star linebacker and was recruited by Joe Paterno to Penn State. So this is not a guy who's just like, just a little nerdy brainiac. He was a full-blast athlete, but he chose arts and sciences. He's got a degree from Ohio University and his Ph.D. in glass science, which is a thing all into itself, from Alfred University. And in 2017, Don was named an Invention Ambassador by the American Association for the Advancement of Science for pioneering work in EnChroma. Welcome, Don. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Don?
I'm glad you could be here with us, man. You've done a lot, authored 8 patents, wrote 14 scientific papers. What we want to know about is a little something first about the science behind color blindness and then the glasses.
The best way to explain color blindness is to understand how normal color visioned people take in the world of color and turn it into a perception. So in the eye, there are 3 light sensitive photopigments that are just called cones. It's easier to say. And they're sensitive to blue, green, and red. Now, somebody who has normal color vision takes some difference measurements of those signals in the retina, converts it into a value, and sends it through the optic nerve into the cerebral cortex, where through a series of staged processes, the reality is reconstructed. And part of that reality, as you've mentioned, is color. In fact, it represents the majority of your neural processes is understanding color. So if somebody is color deficient, what has happened is one of those cones is in the wrong place. So instead of being sensitive to blue, green, and red, it might be sensitive to blue, green, and orange. Or in another form, blue, orange, and red. Right. So when you look at something like a strawberry plant, somebody with normal color vision has no problem seeing the edge between the red strawberry and the green leaf because very different signals are being processed, right? With me so far?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're color deficient though, that information is scrambled because of that crosstalk between the cones. So now you can't really tell the difference between the red strawberry and the green leaf because they have more or less the same signal as it enters the cortex. So your perception is that they're more or less the same color. Kind of like maybe a brown would be a good guess.
Right, so it's kind of overlapping and blending?
Yeah, it's just not getting the correct signal being received by the photopigments. That's just the way it works. And so what we do is we go in and we create a filter that selectively takes out certain wavelengths of light, reestablishing something like the correct capture by the photon pigments, right? Now, when that information is sent to the brain, the perception of color registers because all of those mechanisms that have lain dormant your entire life are suddenly activated.
Wow, okay. So you understood that science and then you were out to make some surgical glasses. Tell us a bit about that. And then the transition into the aha moment of, wait a minute, I think I'm onto something.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a glass scientist, and in my laboratory, I was making specialty glasses for laser surgery for the medical laser industry, which there's a lot of companies here in the Silicon Valley who do that sort of thing. So I had this captive audience, and I was selling glasses to them, and they worked by basically blocking out the wavelength of the laser, right? And I found out from these companies that they're these very, very expensive glasses, they were well over $1,000 a pair, were disappearing. And they found out the surgeons were stealing them and using them as sunglasses. Yeah, and so I kind of had this image in my mind's eye of them in their open-topped convertibles driving down Highway 1, wearing my glasses. And I was like, hey, I like that image. So I started wearing them as sunglasses, and I was like, okay, I get it, because it made the world look super saturated. Greens look really green, reds look really red. And that's a really important piece of information because it creates a boost whether you have normal color vision or you're colorblind.
Right, I've experienced that myself.
Right, because it's the filtering is causing some kind of separation. So you're getting a more intense signal. So, right. But I didn't understand that this had any applications outside of just fun and enjoyment. And it was beautiful, right? So I'm at a Frisbee tournament in Santa Cruz, and my friend who was colorblind borrowed my glasses, put them on, and said the famous line, dude, comma, I can see the cones. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, I'm colorblind. I can't see the difference. And I said, well, what do they look like? He said, well, the grass is really green and the cones are fluorescent, orange. Like he didn't really know what that was because he's never seen it. but he knew the word fluorescent. So I was like, that's crazy. So I took him off and I said, what do they look like now? And he said, it's like yellow brown. Everything's yellow brown. So that was the origin story. And I started researching it. I knew nothing about color blindness and color vision up to that point.
But you knew glass science, but not as it related to color blindness.
That's correct, yeah.
Wow. And so that friend, was he used as patient zero, or was that someone else who?
Oh, no, he was part of the clinical studies at UC Berkeley. And he's a geologist, and he says he loves the glasses because he doesn't have to get out of his car to look at it, to see a rock formation. He can just put the glasses on and he can see the colors in the rocks.
Wow.
As he's driving by. So that was pretty cool. So we've noticed this from a lot of people, that their occupations get some sort of improvement if it's color related.
So can you tell me something just a bit about the evolution of the company from the moment when you took the glasses to who? Did you contact somebody and say, hey, take a look at these?
Well, I have a complete laboratory. So I analyzed them with what's called a spectrophotometer. And I was looking at the spectra and going, what is it about the spectra that's causing this to happen? And I didn't really know. But I got a lot of books and I read a lot of papers. I cold called a lot of very famous vision scientists, and I got quickly educated. And so within 6 months, I had written a grant and submitted it to the National Eye Institute to get funding so that I could develop filters to test in clinical studies, which we did, and they showed some good results. We've had follow-on grants. We had a total of 3 grants from the National Eye Institute to study this with clinical studies. And in 2010, we launched EnChroma as a business and raised some seed capital and started making product. In 2012, I think was when we sold our first product. Took about 2 years of development.
Right. So I know that it actually works. And I want to talk for just a quick second about the percentage of people it works for. Because some people might go online and say, oh, who do they pay to put those glasses on? And EnChroma doesn't pay anybody to put the glasses on and pretend like they can see in color. So what percentage of people do the glasses work for?
The type of red-green color blindness that I described, where you have this spectral shift of one of the photopigments to overlap too much, that's called anomalous color blindness, because you have all 3 photopigments. But there's another type called dichromacy, where you're missing completely one of your photopigments. We cannot help those people.
And that's also found in wildlife, right?
Yeah, it's what all mammals have besides primates. So your dog, your cat, your cow, it's all the same to them. So it's kind of like seeing this reduced 2-dimensional color world. And those people, those dichromats, represent about 1 in 5 of all the colorblind population. So we can help about 80%.
Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you, Don.
Absolutely. Throughout the show, we'd like to introduce everybody to some of the EnChroma viral video stars, so you can hear firsthand some of their amazing and heartwarming stories. So I think we have someone in queue right now that I'd like to bring on. She saw her very first color sunset on her 17th birthday in her hometown of Amarillo, Texas. The video captivated millions on social media and ran on news stations nationwide. Check Harley Sharp. Holy. So that was back in 2018. What was it like? What was that moment like, first seeing that sunset?
That moment changed my life for almost ever. The sunset I love sunsets. I've always talked about how beautiful they are, but I've never actually been able to see the true colors in a sunset before because of being red-green colorblind. And in that moment, immediately I put on the glasses, and the first thing I saw was the color red, and I flipped out. I said a bad word, but saw something that I still cry about every single day. I go look at the sunset every single night that I can because that moment changed my life.
So what were you seeing before? What was it looking like?
It was just really bright. It almost looked like I was just looking at the sun, but it wasn't as bright. Just going down, I never really saw how the clouds change colors, like the sky, it changes colors. I could really only see maybe sometimes I would see a little bit of orange whenever I looked at the yellow. So it wasn't as intense. It looked kind of, and then with the purples, I never got to see that, probably barely any of it. It looked more blue than anything. So it wasn't very intense.
You're like, and then the glasses on, holy, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really, that's pretty amazing. I mean, you think about not seeing the sunset and now, bam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine you're like, these glasses. So it's beautiful. Here. So, I got to your combat medic now. Let me first say thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Well, you're a combat medic now. Is everybody wearing camouflage? So
Yes, everyone wears camouflage.
what impacted you in that scenario?
Well, they call us green suiters, as everyone might know that phrase.
They call
So
you
in the
what?
uniform,
They call you what?
green suiters.
Green suiters. Okay.
And so I knew that in camouflage, there's a mixture of colors, but I had never actually known what the true uniform looked like until I had one of my own. And I put my glasses on, and I was like, why is there 50 different greens inside of our uniform? I had no idea. And it also impacts my job a lot because as a combat medic, we do use certain medicines and we use certain needles and that type of stuff, even around a hospital. And most of the stuff in the medical field is color coded. And I've always had to overcome being color coded by actually taking the time to read the label rather than just knowing it's the green package or it's the orange package. I've always had to actually read the label to make sure that I picked up the right thing.
Okay. So that was your workaround, having to read the whole thing.
Yes. So like reading the different gauges and needles, I would have to make sure that I read them before I could actually grab them. So it just took me longer to be able to grab equipment compared to other people.
Yeah, I'm thinking that could be of good impact because you're saving time now by being able to go with your decision based on the color coding rather than reading the small print.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got word that you said that joining the military was one of the best decisions you ever made. And how's that?
The military, it has impacted my life in so many ways. I met people that I never thought that I would have ever met and became friends with them. I've met some amazing people, great role models, and I've made bonds with people that I don't think I'll ever find anywhere else in the entire world. And it also is going to help my future out tremendously by offering me all of the education and all of the support as well whenever I get out. Because transitioning from being in the military to going back and being a normal human and like living a regular life, having a normal job, it's a transition for people. It's a completely different lifestyle. And now I even have the support to be able to get out and like move forward. And it also helped me with getting my career on track because I would like to be in the medical field. So it helped me go ahead and get all of my licensing that I need to be able to do my job whenever I get out.
Very interesting. And so how did you end up heading towards the medical field? How did that happen?
So I want to be a dentist. And so funny story. The reason that I started going towards the medical field is because when I got braces as a teenager, my dentist actually let me stick around the office and watch him do his job. And it impacted me because I was like, wow, I really like this. And I think that that's probably what led me to the medical field, is because I found a practice that I'm obsessed with and I would love to do for the rest of my life.
Well, now you've got your color vision, you've got your career goals and arcs all set up, and looks like it's going to be a nice life moving forward. So are you looking forward to something right now that you're going to be able to use your glasses for? Like, you're going somewhere within the next, say, year, and you're glad you'll have your glasses with you when you go.
My favorite thing that I have found out that I love is looking at the Christmas lights with my glasses.
Oh, wow.
It is beautiful. And that is something I look forward to every single year, is being able to see the Christmas lights. Every single year, that's the one thing I look forward to around Christmas, is just going around and seeing all of the pretty lights, because I never got to see them before.
We talk about how color can be intertwined with emotion, and that is a prime example right there. That all the years that you had Christmas without color, Christmas is about color. It's about the red, the white, the green, and all the different hues and the multiple lights. And to be able to experience that now, you remember your first Christmas, being able to see the lights?
Yes, I cried. I was in the car with one of my friends, and they specifically took me out to go see the Christmas lights with my glasses. And we have a place called Candy Cane Lane, and back in Amarillo, Texas. And we drove down it, and I stuck my head out of the window like a dog and cried outside of the car because it was so amazing. I never wanted to stop. I went 3 times that Christmas to go look at just Christmas lights.
Yeah. Candy Cane Lane is also down in the Los Angeles area where I am now. People are all over watching this show right now. But I didn't go 3 times in the same Christmas window. But when you miss so many, it's worth it going 3 times, right?
Oh yeah, you got to see everything.
Well, Harley, again, thank you for your service, and we thank you for joining us today and sharing your story. And keep the holy ooh about life going. Pretty cool. All right. Thank you so much, Harley.
Thank you.
That was Harley Sharp. Saw her first sunset at age 17. Just think, the first colorful sunset at age 17. Okay, we're moving on now. So we've got people from all over the world. As we said, we got people from Singapore. We got people from Australia, Mexico, all over. And they're watching this event. And we have some questions. We called some questions earlier. Very interesting questions. And we have just the person to answer those questions. He's Vice President of Business Development and EnChroma's Chief Operating Officer, Mark Madison-Shupnick. Mark, are you there?
I'm here, Don, and happy to join you, and just love your conversations with people that have our glasses.
Yes, it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. We love it, and it's the passion that we all have. It's just amazing.
I know, right? It really is.
It's just, yeah.
Touching people's lives regularly with that amount of, just the memory of Harley mentioning Christmas lights. Really? That's what it's all about. That's worth the price of the ticket right there,
Yeah, yeah. And the subtle things in life, like Opie seeing his son's blush on his cheeks, the color in where he lives, the climate, to make his son's cheeks pink, that someone can't see pink who's red-green colorblind. So what a wonderful thing.
What a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So did you gather some questions that you're going to share with us right now?
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a pretty wonderful crew at EnChroma that helps put all these things together, and they gave us a variety of questions. So Jesse Smith asks a question, and Jesse is now visible. Hi, Jesse.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jesse.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So my question for you, Mark, nice to meet you. I'm a kindergarten teacher here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I myself have single-handedly diagnosed at least 6 of my students with color blindness that, you know, their families and parents had no idea. So my question for you really is, how can I best support my students once I've gotten the diagnosis and moving forward from there?
So first, thank you for who you are and doing that, you know, for kids, you know, because it's the right time for us to find someone who is colorblind or color vision deficient. You'll hear both terms. It's a matter of recognizing the challenge relative to education, identifying the students, needing and understanding the emotions around it, and then helping with the method. So, you know, if I think about the challenge, right, what you discovered was because so much of education is color-based, right?
Very true.
You know? Yeah, and so it's the colors of maps and animals, flowers, fruits, vegetables, coloring exercises. Right now in the life of COVID, my wife is actually working with our grandchildren a few days a week, and they're kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade.
Perfect.
And so much of what they do on the screen and on paper is color-based. Think about the kid who can't see those colors. Think about the descriptions both from Harley and Opie about what they miss. So it's a disadvantage. So identifying those kids is just key. Only 11 of 50 states have tests for color vision deficiency. So let me invite you to invite your students and the people that are online to EnChroma.com. In the upper right corner is a link to eye care professionals that have a passion for working with CVD students.
Okay.
We have a EnChroma color accessibility program. It would help you and your school to afford glasses for colorblind students. They could borrow them during class. We have a number of school districts that are carrying them, and many have been supported from local service groups like the Lions Club. Let's talk about the student, right? The important part is to tell the student it's not their fault, because they're looking around at all the other kids who can do the things that you're asking them to do, and they can't. They're missing something. And so we want to manage their emotion too. And we want to help mom and dad really to understand this. So you can make a difference in class. All the teachers out there that are participating, and moms and dads, contrast is key here. The best contrast is black on white, and that always will work. And so usually colorblindness is a problem for a kid until they're able to read. Because, you know, listen to Harley, she could read the words on the packs of the different gauge needles or syringes, but they're color-coded. It's the same for kids. Crayons are color, but usually kids don't get it right till they learn to read or till they copy their friend. So giving them the tools, the symbols, the other things to recognize a specific color is critical. And this means colorblind students at all ages, because they're going to incorrectly interpret color-coded information. Opie just described that. So when does a kid start really being able to recognize color and actually name it? And so age 5 and up is probably a good start. Earlier than that, it's pretty tough because they get color naming wrong. And then the very last thing I want to talk about is recommending to students and their parents that they visit an EnChroma authorized retailer, an eye care professional, and they'll know for sure whether our glasses will make a difference for your students. And again, I thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, you are more than welcome. I love what I do. And thank you so much for all those suggestions. That was great.
Great. Thanks. Visit our website. There's a whole section on what is colorblindness and what is colorblindness for kids. When do you start?
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Jesse.
You know, I can imagine a kid trying to navigate all that, maybe being embarrassed, maybe being shy, maybe being terrified about saying, I can't see it. And definitely having being misdiagnosed for having a learning disability or something, when in fact it's that. That's
right.
That's really. Do you have more questions to share?
This was asked by Chris Humes. He says, if you're colorblind, how did you discover it? Thanks, Chris. As we just learned with Jesse, discovery is usually school-based. It's a discovery that occurs in kindergarten. It's when they use the wrong crayon, when teachers like Jesse send a note home saying, you know, I think you should have your child's eyes checked. And that's because testing for color vision deficiency, colorblindness, isn't necessarily done in every state, in every city. And so it's really up to us to spread, you and me, to spread the awareness of colorblindness. And in fact, there's a solution. And today, when education is so digital and screen-based, it's critically important to confirm CVD, color vision deficiency. The reason is, you know, again, so much of what we do is color-based. And hopefully we don't have to wait until they join the military as an adult to find out that they're color vision deficient. Because what that suggests is that there are some jobs, some occupations that are not or no longer possible. But perhaps this opportunity to learn, to grow in a more colorful world gives them themselves much more opportunity. So I encourage people, take our online colorblindness test at EnChroma.com. Have your kids take our test. It takes only about 2 minutes or so, a little less, and it'll tell you if you're colorblind, and it'll tell you the type of colorblindness. Right? And that actually leads us into, I know, a next question. Right? So Lori Palmer asks, how does one determine the severity of colorblindness? And how do you know if you are colorblind? How do you choose which glasses to try? Or is it, does EnChroma make one pair for all? So if you want to know if you're colorblind, take our colorblindness test. It'll tell you green, deutan, red, protan, and it'll tell you the severity. And it will then direct you to the particular lenses that are specific for your kind of colorblindness. And so we make outdoor and indoor lenses, and we make them specific for deutans and a different set for strong protans, because they have a very special requirement. And we make them depending on the lighting condition where you live, because the brighter the sunshine, the better the color. As soon as it's overcast, color is dulled. As soon as it gets toward dusk and nighttime, color disappears. And so we manage through our lenses both your kind of colorblindness and the environment in which you live. And you really want more information? Go to our website. There's a page that says, what is colorblindness? And that does it.
Mark, thank you so much, and we'll see you later in the show.
That's great. Thanks, Don.
So listen, I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is interesting, isn't it? And probably more emotional than you expected, because it gets inside you. This is the real deal. You know, when people have a challenge like this that isn't really talked about that much. You know, there are multiple challenges that people come up against that are covered fairly widely, and this has been covered very specifically in a very, very wonderful fashion on some nice platforms that you hear about. But it's not one you hear about every day. And so I hope you're gathering some of this information and passing it on to someone if they have this challenge. But right now, it's time to get more of the behind the scenes story. You got to wonder, after Don did the invention, and created the invention. And once they got that together, what was the process of it actually becoming a company that's now 10 years strong? And we're going to find out right now from EnChroma CEO Tony Dice. Tony, are you there?
Hey, hi Don, thanks.
Tell us the story behind the relation. Basically, I want to go to its infancy, like the very beginning after it's been invented, and how the company was actually founded and actually became
Right.
EnChroma.
Right, yeah, so that's kind of where I come in is Don had got that NIH grant and spent it. They developed a really sophisticated color vision testing system to actually get precisely exactly how people have that shift in where their cone responsiveness was. And they, frankly, was out of money. And I had been introduced to Andy Schmader, who's, the other co-founder of us. And he, through a mutual friend from Berkeley, and they mentioned I should talk to him about it. And I, at that point, had a philosophy where I was doing everything that same day, just immediately, and it didn't stick, unfortunately, but that day I did it. And so I contacted Andy, and Andy said, yeah, okay, I'll introduce you to Don, but I'm going away for a month. So we'll do it when I get back. And I said, nope, I'll meet you, meet me there
Nope.
in 15 minutes. Drive town, stop packing, cross town. And, you saw Don's lab. So I biked up there. I was running at the time a sort of solo practice, one desk in a warehouse, startup law practice. And, it had a bunch of experience with other, small companies, helping them out on the business side, taking them just, from the idea into, a company that can sell stock and fund itself. When I got introduced to Don, it was just, the idea was just so compelling. It took a month of just that same experience you had earlier of just drinking from the fire hose of this incredibly complex system. And so I, had spent that month learning a lot about the company, really getting engaged with it, and kind of just narrowing the funnel with Don about, what the product was. And I, my experience, I was splitting my time between, Don's lab, we'd have these long 4 or 5 hour long conversations, and this cafe called Revolution Cafe down on 7th Street in West Oakland. And it's not the Revolution Cafe now. You still see it on Yelp, but Revolution Cafe was awesome because Revolution Cafe was like minimum viable product cafe. Like, if you know anything about running a cafe or restaurant, you need 6 months, $800,000. You need to figure out the traffic. You need to budget, what sort of investment you're going to make versus how long your lease is. But if you don't know anything about business, you just open it, the next Monday. You go to Goodwill, you buy all the coffee cups. Revolution Cafe offered 5 different things to eat. They had bacon, eggs, bread, lettuce, tomato. You could have any combination of those. You have like a BLT, or you have bacon and eggs. And it was just, everything was just like minimum viable product of a cafe. And so I'm spending my time, writing the pitch for the investors, talking to Don, figuring out, all these different ways that this company can go. And really just getting that funnel down to just asking Don, okay, so, you're telling me that the visual cortex of the brain just has to be looking at these electrical signals, and it's the ratio between the signals that really matters. So we put just this gate in front of them, and he sort of just signal gate, and we only get the right signals through. Are you telling me that a colorblind person will see much more like a normal person? And he just thought about it, for a good 10 seconds and said yes. And
wow.
At that point, I knew that, we had the type of company that even on a shoestring that we could get it together, and part of that was just breaking it down to pieces that we could convince people of. And that led us, to our investors that invested in this, who we have a slide of. And the first 2 that came on were Bob Dykes and Ash Patel. And they were the 2 that invested, it was a smaller amount of money, but when we just had the pure idea, where we explained it, just like you know, Don and I explained it to you, and how we knew we could take that and turn it into a company. So, you know, those two, they're seasoned angel investors, but they were definitely taking a leap. What that did is that funded us so that we could make the, you know, the minimum viable product, which if we cut back to me, I can show you in my hands here. So this was the first pair that we
That's
had.
the first pair right there. That's the first pair.
Yeah, exactly. This, you know, we were having them made on the same line as they were making aerospace parts. And, you know, if you have a telecommunications satellite, you want to gate off the part that the signal goes through so the noise doesn't get through, and you can get it really, really finely put. So we, you know, we didn't know how to make the glasses. We didn't know any. I didn't come from the optical industry. I came from the tech industry. Like Don said, he didn't come from the optical industry or even the, you know, the vision aspect, the bio side of it. He didn't come from either. So we had to learn everything as we went, and we saved a lot of money because these are actually the Dolby 3D glasses you might remember from the theaters. We made them on the same line. Yep. So they struggled with the price too, because that you know, this was super, super expensive the first time around. And so what this enabled us to do is number one, you know, when we got this made, you know, so excited. I met this guy named Paul Grayson one night out in the city, and it was colorblind, and we had just got these in, so we took him over to Lake Merritt in Oakland, and did a lap around the lake. And you know, that was I think like February 2013 when it really got started, and that was really one of those moments that for me, like, you know, having that first person, I had avoided talking to. It was one of those serendipitous things where I had avoided telling people, you know, the details of what kind of startup I was working at, because you don't want to be the guy with a million ideas that don't come true. But you know, right as like that day, I decided, okay, we got the glasses and we need subjects. It's going to be a while before our real vetted ones come through. Should talk to some people about it. But it also led us to, we show the investors again. I had met Alex Gurko, who was Alex Gurko and Dmitry Chekin were part of that, the main investment, and Bob Dykes followed along too. And what happened, it was kind of just this amazing story where, you know, Alex is just the man of this. I had been through so many investments pitches where, you know, you explain it to them and either they're just like dead-eyed, don't understand at all what you're talking about and don't want to learn, or they have, you know, really good investment discipline. And for that era, that meant, you know, software as a service, which to me, you know, really this investment discipline just means limiting yourself to investments that you can imagine beforehand, right? In a way. And so, you know, Alex just really, we were in London, you know, we're in this pub and went outside, and he just put the glasses on and, you know, looked at, right outside Buckingham Palace, looked at this trodden down parade field on just the dreariest day in London, and he got it. He instantly was like, you know, I want to do the whole deal, and brought Dimitri along.
In that moment, you got it?
And that was it. Yeah. Then these were our founders, or founding investors. Not the founders; they were the investors. And they were, yeah, they helped us along. And funny story about Alex actually is right as we're about to leave. You know, he's trying to come up with a question, and you know, you're just drinking from the fire hose for something he knew. He's a currency trader, right, in London. So he knows nothing about this. So he's learning the whole time and wants to ask a question. So he's like, so. This works for color blindness, right? Not like actual blindness. Right? And to me, I was very polite. I was like, no, just color blindness. But it was just because, you know, who would have thought, right? Like now, Don, here we are. So it seemed ridiculous at the time, and it's impressions. Wow. Yeah. So the story after that was that we. You know, this actually was the pair that we took out to for Paul seeing it the first time. We actually framed them nicely.
Looking much sleeker there.
Yeah, a little bit sleeker. We were afraid actually because it's kind of a woman's frame. We're afraid sure that you wouldn't be okay with it. He didn't care because it was, first person to ever see it. You can also see the little chip in the corner. These were really hard to edge. We were sending Don McPherson out to Livermore for like 6 months, an hour each way to get these edged down. And he wasn't happy about that. And these ones were the first ones that we actually introduced. So this was in November of 2014. Or 2013, sorry, November 2013, we introduced these and started selling them. They were $750. They were made on that complex line that I told you about. And we did not make a lot of money selling these. And the price was in some ways to recoup the cost, but also in some ways as a bit of a break on demand because we struggled to put them out. And we knew that we had to get them into a more traditional type of lens, dye-based lens. And that was kind of what we did 2014 into 2015. And the story really, where we had, more like this type of thing that we have now. And that's the story there becomes interesting because that's, Opie Hughes was in February and that, things started picking up. But a company, I was in the office one day and it was, we were feeling a little bit of the rumbles of that and, the Opie Hughes story. And so it was busy, but, pretty slack day. And I got this call from a guy named Todd Tilford at FCB Chicago, which is an ad agency. And he asked me if I would like $2 million to advertise my product. I actually did get calls like that, which were generally, would you like to, it would turn out to be, would you like to spend advance $50,000 of expenses for $2 million worth of advertising, which generally wasn't. But this was, I was like, as long as I have, I don't have to spend any money on this whatsoever, I'm in. And they're like, yep. And
$2 million? You said $2 million, right?
$2 million, exactly. What had happened is they, had some creative guys in there over the weekend. It's, I visited them afterwards, and it was this total sort of modern day Mad Men scene. And, these guys in over the weekend, throwing pencils at the ceiling, trying to come up with an idea for an ad for their paint company. The client was named Valspar Paints. And they had come up with a great idea where the commercial would be that the paint company would invent these glasses, these color blindness glasses, and so their customers could see the colors that they'd been missing in their paints, and that would create, people would be able to experience the colors for the first time. And they went in,
It's just a creative idea, right?
Just an idea out of nowhere. And they went in on Monday morning and told their boss that they'd worked all weekend on it. He, but unfortunately they Googled it right at the end and they were like, oh, but that already exists. So that would create problems with them. So I guess, it's a shame we can't use it. And, Todd just says, give me 1 second and gets me on the phone and, it was not a hard sell. So that, that Valspar video, they brought me in, John Kenny at FCB took over and he and I worked on the whole thing. It was really exciting because, we had struggled to raise money, around $2 million. And here on the phone, just from doing everything right, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And that was one of those things where years and years of selling a very difficult product, pushing this out, finally sort of paid off on us. And
they came up with something really, really wonderful.
Yeah, and it took off.
For us to look at EnChroma's first viral hit with Valspar, Colors for All. Let's take a look.
I've had moments where girls would make fun of me for not knowing girly shades.
I thought maybe I wasn't intelligent enough to tell because I didn't know and I didn't tell my parents. So I stopped painting and drawing.
There's some drawings where I wish I could see how my kids put the colors together and what they were visualizing.
I've never been able to see this one. And I just want to cry a little bit. I never realized how much I was affected by the fact that I can't see the world like the way that other people see the world.
When he's drawing, I see him going in and out of his crayon box like 150 times sometimes. Oh wow, that's cool. And now I kind of know why. There's a lot more colors here.
So is that what you guys see every day? Yeah?
Color is an amazing experience that I think people probably take for granted.
There we go. And right now, we're joined by one of the people, one of the participants in that Valspar spot. She is a writer-producer from the Bay Area, but now she lives in New York City, and she's going to join us. Her name is Atlee Feingold. Atlee, are you there?
I'm here. Can you see me?
Hey, Atlee. How's it going?
How you doing? It's good.
Great. You have great energy in that video, just like the energy and the spirit you're putting off. I'm like, this is cool. Atlee's pretty cool. That's a very cool name, too.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saying it correctly.
So can you tell me, when you put those glasses on, we're trying to get to trying to look back and explain the moment. You put them on, you felt what?
So it was funny hearing the preschool or kindergarten teacher speak about kids. So I was actually not diagnosed till I was in 2nd grade. They actually thought I had a learning disability, and they brought me in for a bunch of different things. I thought I had ADD. I went to all these different psychologists and stuff. They finally found out when I was like 8, because it's very rare for girls to be as colorblind as I am. So I live with this. And no one talks about it as well, like as many other people on here have said. Like, it's not a disability or a deficiency that anyone really speaks about, per se. So I just kind of went my whole life knowing it, but not really like fully thinking about it in a deep way, which sounds weird, but I just never did. And then when I put on the glasses, I did not think I was going to have an emotional response. I really did not. I thought I was just going to, I don't know what I thought, but right when I put them on, and I saw all the different shades that I've never seen, I just immediately started crying.
Oh.
And I really realized like how I already think the world is just so incredible as is. And then to put the glasses on and see what everybody else saw, just like the other man said, I was just so overwhelmed. It was very overwhelming.
Right? Like, oh, this is even more wonderful than I thought, right?
It's like being a baby, you know, and learning things and experiencing things for the first time. I mean, that's literally how we feel. We've never seen these things before. So
Right.
yeah, it was weird. It was amazing and crazy.
I like your phrase. You said a colorful baby mobile.
Yes.
That's what it was. You're like,
Literally, like, it's like you were awakened to a new reality, you know, that you never saw before. And so it was pretty mind-blowing.
Okay, so we understand your father is colorblind as well. And
Yes.
so what was that dynamic like when you were a kid? You guys were both walking down the street, not knowing.
Yeah.
Pay no attention. It's not bright enough. What?
Correct. Like, so my mom would always make fun of us, just the way that we would dress and stuff would always be really mismatched. And I think, looked a little maybe brighter and intense than I thought that I did, because the colors that I chose to me look pretty muted, but to other people, I think it's pretty intense. And same with my dad. So we were constantly being made fun as, you know, as when I was growing up and stuff, things like that. I mean, literally everything is color coded, as some other guests were saying. So you're just hitting up against this all the time. And my younger brother is colorblind as well, but not as severely as me, surprisingly. So we're constantly kind of joking and comparing different things. And it's nice to not be the only one colorblind in the family, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so how much younger is your brother than you?
So this brother is 7 years, the one that's partially colorblind.
Right.
Yeah, and then I have an older brother and a middle brother, and they're not colorblind.
Not at all.
No.
Hit some people, hit you, dad.
Yeah.
Hit brother.
Yeah, and my dad and me have the same, so we're like severely colorblind in the red and green deficient. I remember I took the test for EnChroma, for Valspar, for the documentary, and that was the first time I really was told, oh, I'm in the very severe percentage. I'd never really looked into it, so that was kind of an interesting moment as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my mind around seeing you coming down the street in some crazy colors. Like, I'm looking pretty cool today, right? I think I got it together.
Yeah, I have a very specific memory of a 4th of July where I was upstairs getting dressed and I thought I looked fly and I had what I thought was my red and what I thought was my blue and what I thought was my white, and I came downstairs and my mother was like, no. And I was wearing like, I don't even know what I was wearing, like fuchsia and purple, and it was just wild.
Oh my goodness. Your own red, white, and blue, but not the real red, white, and blue.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. So I think we covered. Oh, wait. I want to ask you about this. The parking zones.
Yes. Yes. So LA, you live in LA, right?
And the cost, right?
Yes. And LA is hard for a regular person with the parking situation, we all know.
Okay.
And then if you're colorblind, I've had to literally get out of my car and say, excuse me, ma'am, what color is this?
Oh my word.
Times. Because I've gotten tickets thinking I was parked just in a regular gray sidewalk. Turns out it's red. I can't see red. Right? So that's been a bummer. And then the newest thing, which I actually gifted my glasses to my father because, you know, he's 60 years old. He's never been able to see real color. So that was really exciting for him. And so I'm hoping to get some new glasses because now I work as a film and TV editor and we have to color, right? So just like the soldier, I forget her name, was saying she had to like develop workarounds for the medical field. For coloring, I have to remember like different scopes and very specific things instead of just being able to look with my eyes and figure out how to color balance. So I feel like I run up, like butt up against this all the time.
Okay. And so now you don't have to talk to strangers because if you get
if I get a pair of glasses, I don't have to talk to strangers. Yes.
So we'll have to work something out. We'll talk to the upper ups and make sure you've gifted your father. You gotta have some.
Amazing.
You know.
Yes.
About started up, you deserve some glasses, right?
They're amazing, and I feel like everyone should. It's really a cool experience to be someone that has seen in your own perspective and then gets to see the way that, you know, normal people get to see. So you kind of get two worlds in one life, and I think that's pretty neat. Yeah,
two worlds in one lifetime.
Yeah.
One that you think is wonderful, and then put an exponent on that, and it's even more wonderful.
Yeah, actually, I was joking with the crew on that show when we were filming because I said, you know, I think I was made colorblind on purpose because I'm so sensitive and like I already think the world is amazing. And I think if I saw the way you guys saw every day, I would just be like freaking out.
Wow. Atlee, it was a real pleasure meeting you.
Yes,
really,
you too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you again without question. All right?
Thanks. Bye.
Atlee Feingold. Bye-bye. I just have to take a break each time and go like, wait a minute, this is what's happening in people's lives via these incredible glasses. Very cool. Okay, moving along. Beep, 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 beep. We have a special announcement. We've got another discount. We've got another discount right now. And to tell us more about that, we're going to speak to our social media specialist, Karen. Karen, are you in the house?
Hey, Don. So our next discount is actually for our kids' frames, the Colby, for kids ages 10 plus. They were formerly $269, but now you can take $70 off and just get them for $199. And just because they're kids' frames doesn't mean they're just for kids. I love wearing them. They're actually really great for people with small faces like mine. So check it out, and we'll be posting the link right in our live chat if you're streaming on YouTube. I hope I'm pointing in the right direction, but yeah, check us out.
Thank you so much, Karen. Colby glasses, kids, people with small faces. And speaking of kids right now, it's time to go to another one of our viral video stars. Standing by, and he's pretty special. His name is Kason, and he was 10 the first time he saw and experienced EnChroma. His first time seeing in color was a massive hit. Internationally, 150 million views. the NBC Nightly News, Dr. Oz, Iowa Public Radio. This kid made quite a splash with his story, and let's take a look. Kason,
Hi, Don.
are you there?
Yep.
Wow. I got to tell you, I know you guys were moved and you guys were crying, but I've seen that a few times. Every time I had to go, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, we react the same every time we see it. We cry every time.
It's a powerful moment. It's a powerful moment. Wow. You know, I'm a little taken aback right now. I'm getting it back together. But I have two sons. They're older now. They're 24 and 21. But I know my bond with them. And just the emotion you guys showed makes me think of them. And so thank you guys. Thank you very much. It's very, very beautiful. And he went right to Dad. He's like, Dad, Dad, love me. I loved it. I loved it. I really did. Kason, you're 13 now. Is that right?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit like that first moment when you first put them on. What was going through your head?
I mean, it was just pure shock. I mean, everything changed. It changed my life.
And Dad, you're right there. So can you tell me what you were feeling? What was happiness for him, joy, or what was it? Because you were right in there too.
Yeah, sort of a mix. We hadn't, we knew he wanted them for some time, and we were concerned that maybe they wouldn't work once we bought them. So we held off, and he had been bugging us to buy them. So we finally ordered them and didn't tell him. So he didn't know at that moment what we were doing. So putting them on and then knowing instantly that they were going to work for him, it was a tremendous amount of relief and just pure happiness. It was amazing.
So when he put them on, did he know he was putting on those glasses or just some glasses?
He thought they were just some sunglasses. We didn't tell him.
Whoa. Wait a minute. I did not know that. I did not know that. That even adds another layer to the whole story now.
Yeah, the ultimate surprise.
I just put some shades on. Like, ah!
Yep.
Wow, that's so cool. So cool. Okay, so has it impacted anything connected to school for you?
Art class. I used to have to ask everybody for help, drawing, coloring, painting. I don't have to do that now. Just kind of everywhere it's helped out. My school right now has colored hallways, so I can go off those now.
Well, okay, colored hallways directing you to different
Yep.
areas of campus?
Yep.
Wow, you definitely need that. And so if you lift them up, you're still seeing like the muted shade.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, that's got to be super helpful. Now I understand that something happened. Maybe you can explain this story to me, where you were made honorary team captain for some reason connected to what? Explain that to me.
So in one of the videos of the interviews, I was wearing an Iowa Hawkeyes shirt, which is a college football team. And then they saw that video and then decided that they wanted to come meet me and do an interview and stuff.
And that thereafter led to NBC News and the Nightly News and Lester Holt, who I look up to. He's got it together, right? That's so beautiful. So you guys, has this impacted at all, like you guys playing catch or anything like that? Because I played catch a lot with my sons and stuff. Has that impacted sports between the two of you?
Yeah, so outside, sometimes like I can't see the ball. And then if I put them on, it's just easier to see it when we're throwing it back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Now Dad knows he can throw a little harder because he knows you can see it, right?
Exactly.
I want to thank you guys for joining us, and I want to thank you for being warm enough and vulnerable enough to show your video, because every time I see it, and I've probably seen it building and helping this project probably 5 or 6 times, and every time little hairs on my leg and the back of my neck, and I go, oh, he turns around, oh my God.
Yeah, we're the same. We've watched it 100 times and it's still the same every time.
Every time. Thank you guys for joining us. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, we're going to move on to another video viral star, Jonathan Jones. Jonathan gained national attention when he started a GoFundMe account. He started a GoFundMe account to raise money to buy EnChroma glasses for other colorblind students. He started by distributing the first batch of glasses to 9 colorblind students at his own school in Southwest Minnesota with a news channel. But later on, he ended up being somewhere else, and that was on the Kelly Clarkson show. Can we take a quick look at that? Well, I see now you did all the shows. Kelly Clarkson, This Morning, everything. Welcome, Jonathan and his mom, Carol. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. How are you, Don?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I'm hosting this thing not knowing I was going to go on this ride of emotion. I knew it hit me on some because I watched the videos, but now it just keeps coming in waves. I'm in the moment. I can't stop to turn away and cry right away. But we welcome you guys and thank you for being here. So Jonathan, I understand you're a 9th grader now?
I'm an 8th grader.
8th grade. You're 8th grade? Going to be in 9th grade. Eventually.
He's an 8, eventually next year. He just started 8th grade.
I wasn't wrong. You will be in 9th grade, right? So can you tell me what inspired you to start the GoFundMe page? I mean, can you take me back to the first moment where you were maybe walking in the kitchen or talking to your mother? What was that moment? You were like, hey, I want to do this.
Well, I mean, like the night after my mom posted on social media, she was getting messages about, hey, I want to buy Jonathan some glasses. Hey, I want to donate. Hey, is there something where I can donate? So we were like, let's set a goal. If you look at it, it's $350. So we can buy one person glasses, one other person glasses. And it just went from there, I guess.
Wow. Wow. That's too much. And so the 350 goal grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and able to help more and more people. So I see that was the moment. You're like, hey, you know, we'll just get some for somebody else. But then they caught fire. And more people got them. Okay, so can you tell me can you kind of put into words what's the coolest thing you've been able to experience in color?
Probably this like February. We went on a cruise to the Caribbean, and it's always beautiful there with the clear water and the blue clear water, but being able to see that in its full color is definitely way better than before.
Okay, so what was the clear water looking like to you previously?
I guess this is how I like to explain it. So the colors I would see before, it's if you take normal colors and put like a brownish gray tint on it. And that's how I would see it.
So a brownish gray tint on what is now blue water to you.
Yeah.
All the colors for him, that's how he describes it. Everything would have like this gray, dirty look to it. And then with the glasses, everything's just bright and vibrant. So when we were in I think it was Grand Cayman the first time when we were in the Caribbean in February. He was just standing there on the beach with his glasses on, just like, it's so beautiful. I'm like, I know, and I feel like you haven't seen it until here.
All right. Yeah, I've been to the Grand Cayman Islands, and yeah, it's a particular nicer shade of water than you can find.
Stunning, yes.
Stunning, yeah. So if I got this right, the GoFundMe page has raised over $37,000.
Yeah, we had the GoFundMe's just over 37. We had some checks and some cash that were sent to us as well. We have a foundation here in Southwest Minnesota who's kind of taking on the management of all of that, taking applications, and the wonderful EnChroma company is matching every pair of glasses that we are buying with a free pair. So it's like we're providing over $65,000 worth of glasses to school-age children. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Can you please tell us where people can go to donate, to contribute to the fund?
Yeah, so if you just go to GoFundMe.com and you search colorblind glasses, colorblind being two separate words, he's right up there at the top. You'll see his smiley face. And yeah, it's going to stay open as long as we're getting donations. In fact, I just did an interview this week with an international media company who's just saw Jonathan's video for the first time. So it's still out there, and we're still getting donations to the GoFundMe. And that's kind of where we are. Is it's not about us, it's about other people we can help. And we'll keep doing interviews as long as we're able to keep helping other people.
Well, it's really special what you guys are doing. And I want to tell you, Jonathan, you're very special. You're a very special young man, because kids get busy in their own lives. They're in the video games and the other stuff they're not really thinking about at your age, reaching out.
He doesn't like video games at all.
How lucky for all these colorblind kids who you have other interests. So it's really beautiful that you took time out of your young life, because young people can be into whatever they want to be into, but for you to think of others, it's actually very extraordinary. So I'm going to give you a fist bump on that. Boom, boom, boom. Outstanding. We're so glad you guys joined us, Jonathan and Carol.
Thanks so much.
It keeps on coming. So Jonathan was on a bunch of news programs and shows, and now we're going to be joined with someone pretty special. EnChroma's been covered by major media, NBC Nightly News, NPR, CNN, the New York Times, Good Morning America, and right now we want to look into some of those great stories and cover a couple other things, including partnerships. And to lead us in through that, we're going to bring in now the Director of Public Relations and Partnerships. His name is Kent Strebe, and I like Kent. Hi, Kent.
Hi, Don. Thanks for having me.
Glad you could join us. So tell us a little bit about the news stories and how EnChroma got involved and what came out of it.
Sure. So I want to say it's really fun to see people like Kason and Jonathan and Bill Reed and some of the others. I'm approaching 6 years with EnChroma, and what's really fun and exciting, it never gets old, is telling all these stories of all these people who have challenges with color blindness, but also just bring such interesting backgrounds and stories and get involved, like you see Jonathan. So it's really fun to be able to tell their stories and very rewarding. And that's something that the media has picked up on. It's a problem that a lot of people are unaware of. A lot of people aren't aware how prevalent color blindness is. 1 in 12 men, 1 in 200 women, 350 million people worldwide. And if they are aware, they don't really understand how the colorblind see the world and some of the different challenges and obstacles that they overcome. So that's a story that's really powerful and resonates with the media. And we've been very fortunate that the media has recognized that it's a really interesting story. And part of it is, it's been a problem that hasn't had a solution for decades. Scientists have struggled with it. And EnChroma has come along and invented the first glasses that are backed by science that work and can benefit most of the colorblind. So it's very powerful and evocative, as you can see in the videos and in some of the media coverage. We've had stories on Good Morning America, on BBC in England, Dr. Oz, CNN, and we're going to watch a couple of clips here in a moment of some of those stories. So as you can see, some of the media that's covered us are the New York Times, Forbes. The story on USA Today was one of the very first ones that really boosted awareness for us, as well as, for the condition of color blindness. That's a story there about a museum in Denver of contemporary art that's carrying the glasses, so colorblind people can come and borrow the glasses and enjoy the artwork there. And some of the partnerships we've been able to form, like with the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, Museum of Contemporary Art Chicago, Smithsonian, Cooper Hewitt. There's quite a few museums and other organizations that are carrying the glasses because they realize that there's a segment of the population that can't experience their works of art or some of the other, things that most of us can enjoy with normal, regular color vision.
Exactly. Okay, so now I'd like to hop onto, and this is a very interesting area because I have some favorite moments in this section coming up right now. There's been some memorable marketing collaborations, some partnerships you've done with some big brands. Could you please dip into that for us?
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of brands are trying to establish emotional connection with their consumers. And they spend a lot of time on colors, whether it's their logo or their product. But a lot of them are unaware that there's a segment of the population that misses out on it somewhat. So we've had many major brands approach us, from Comcast DreamWorks to Buy the Drink Company to Valspar Paints in the video you saw. And some of the others that we've collaborated with are L'Oreal, the cosmetics company, Clorox, Lionsgate Films, and the Tennessee Department of Tourism, just to name a few. So we're going to watch a couple of clips. And the first story I really like a lot, the first one we're going to see, L'Oreal wanted to market a new shade of lipstick, and it was red. They saw some of our videos and news stories. They realized that there's a segment of predominantly men who are colorblind and can't appreciate, some of the things that their wives do, such as lipstick. So they reached out to us, and they had this idea where they would have a model who's colorblind try on the lipstick, put on the glasses, and then see it. We thought we have a little bit better, a little bit more maybe emotional and interesting backstory concept. And we approached them with a different idea, which was to have the women talk about colors and fashion and what their husbands miss out on, or significant others, and then put on the lipstick and have the men put on the glasses and come out and see their wives, in a different light. And if you see it, it's a really well done video and story that did well for them in Latin America.
Let's take a look at that L'Oreal spot right now.
No nunca me ha dicho que qué bonito color de labios te pusiste o qué bonitas uñas te pusiste.
Cambio mucho de colores de lipstick y Andrés nunca ha reaccionado puntualmente a un cambio de color.
El rojo, yo te puedo decir que hasta la fecha él no lo conoce.
Me gustaría ver los colores como los demás.
A ver, ¿qué color es este? Y dices, café, no, como es rojo.
Es frustrante no ver el rojo como rojo porque creo que te pierdes de emociones.
Hola, Aldo. Este es mi rojo.
Hola, Oscar. Este es mi rojo.
Hola, Andrés. Este es mi rojo.
I don't think I've said wow so many times in the same day in my life. Every time I see that spot, every time it gets me. There's like probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 of these videos throughout this entire project that make me go like, and you already saw it. Didn't the hairs already stand up? Is that enough? But that one, that's one of my favorites there, that L'Oreal spot. Wow, it's really good.
Well done, and it really conveys, some of the things, simple things to more poignant to mundane that the colorblind, miss out on at times. So yeah, it's really well done.
It speaks to the connection between color and emotion in the most succinct and cogent fashion. I really like it. So I understand there was also a great interaction with Lionsgate for some superhero action that involves color. Tell us about that.
Right. So Lionsgate Films reached out. They wanted to promote their latest Power Rangers movie, which came out a couple years ago. And they understood from hearing about EnChroma that obviously there's a segment that may not see the iconic colors of the Power Rangers the way that they should be seen. So they partnered with us. They wanted to generate awareness about color blindness. Of course, they wanted to promote the film, and they wanted to distribute some glasses to colorblind people as well. So they helped, they're the experts. They put together a film that demonstrates how the Power Rangers look to the colorblind. And then we worked with them to distribute the glasses to people around the country. One of our staff flew to LA, and some colorblind people were invited, and they got to go see the premiere of the movie with the EnChroma glasses and experience the Power Rangers and the movie in color. So here's a little clip of what they did.
Can you even think of a more organic? You talk about brand matching brand and marketing matching. That's like a godsend when you get. It's about color and able to access EnChroma that way. That's organic incarnate, right? That's what that is. I want to now move on to a beautifully moving piece. And you can give us a little backstory on it as well with Tennessee tourism.
Yeah, so this is really special. So we adapted our colorblind lens technology to fit in scenic viewers so that when colorblind people go to a national park or somewhere else that has a scenic viewer, they can appreciate the beauty of what everybody else can see. the state of Tennessee really pioneered this. They wanted to promote people to come to the state of Tennessee in the fall when the colors of the leaves are exploding in oranges and reds and all kinds of different vibrant colors. They wanted to promote the tourism, and they piloted the installation of 3 of these special viewers at 3 of their parks. It proved very popular, and they subsequently added 9 more. So there's 12 locations in the state of Tennessee where colorblind people can travel, and now would be a great time as the leaves are starting to change in Tennessee. And it really took off. It's been, they developed a wonderful promotional film that we'll watch in a second. It was viewed by tens of millions of people. It's really, really well done, and it really demonstrates the emotion, especially out in nature, of the experience of EnChroma. Since that time, other states have reached out to us, and we recently announced that locations in Florida, Georgia, and Oregon are adding the colorblind viewers, and there's several more states that will be coming on soon. So the state of Tennessee has really, been in the vanguard of this, and it's really impressive. So let's take a look at their film. It's really, really good.
That's right. I'm glad to have seen it. I just wish I'd seen this all my life.
Wow, that guy was deeply moved. I mean, his whole life. Imagine your whole life. But there we have it right there. I want to note now that we've seen a lot of people over the course of the show, people not unlike us, but there's a particular other group of people that you're about to introduce us to that is pretty fascinating.
Right, so colorblindness does not discriminate based on whether you're a celebrity or not a celebrity. And there are numerous colorblind celebrities. Tiger Woods is colorblind.
Whoa.
Brock Lesnar, the wrestler, Howie Mandel, Bill Clinton, Prince William, Mark Zuckerberg, on and on. Even Mr. Rogers and Mark Twain were colorblind, and so wow. Doesn't discriminate. Other colorblind people, other colorblind celebrities have recognized the power of the story. Ashton Kutcher posted about a colorblind person trying EnChroma. George Takei, Star Trek,
right.
Other movies, Lil Wayne, they all recognize that it's a pretty unique story. Kevin Durant posted about his teammate JaVale McGee, who is surprising his colorblind high school buddy with the glasses. And here's Big Bang Theory star Mayim Bialik, whose son is colorblind, and he wears the glasses, and she very generously made a nice post and story about it. She discovered that he was colorblind from playing checkers with him, and he was getting angry because she was accusing him of moving the pieces in odd ways, and then discovered he's colorblind. So it's part of the power of the EnChroma experience. My dad's colorblind. Everybody from celebrities, to my dad can appreciate this, amazing, technology that can change lives. But as you've heard, it also can help with maybe experiencing and enjoying some of the more mundane things of life. Just seeing a red and green stoplight change, seeing more of the colors of a rainbow, going on a hike and appreciating more, or seeing the hair color or eye color of a loved one. So it really resonates across all parts of society, really.
Kent, thank you so much for sharing that those pieces with us. It's fascinating stuff, and you can't get tired of it. It's like every time you see somebody go, hey, wait a minute, wait, it's moving every time. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure. Appreciate it.
And now, folks, we're going to step into a conversation. You know, we're doing nice business, reaching out across the United States, but it's a goal of EnChroma to go wider with some Euro fulfillment. To cover that right now, CEO Tony's coming back. Tell us what you got on your mind about that, Tony.
Oh, thanks, Don. Yeah, I've been away from the company for a minute, and coming back, one of my big initiatives is really to help us do a much better job at getting the product in the hands of people all over the world. So to that end, we are beginning to start to fulfill the products through the UK. And so now, within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be able to send them out within the UK and Europe. And so it'll be domestic shipment, free shipping, no hassles with paying duties at the door or anything like that. It'll just be like ordering any other product. And UK returns too. So if it doesn't work out, and we know for a certain percentage of people that's just how it's going to be, you send them back to the UK and it'll be a lot easier. Our fantastic team has been working all night to get up the enchroma.co.uk. There's no comment at enchroma.co.uk. And you, starting right now, can go there and order a selection of the eyewear, which we'll begin sending out in, I believe it's going to be early October. We're targeting this. So it'll take a little bit longer to get there. But, like the deals that we've got going, this is actually a pretty drastic price decrease for you. People ordering these in the UK, and this LS refurb, for example, the deals that we're doing, you can look at on there, and it's we've priced it in pounds, and you can see the deals there are it's going to be significantly cheaper, and throughout 2001 we want to expand further throughout the world. And we're going to start, turning that on in other places.
Reaching out and expanding. EnChroma Global. That's right. Okay, so what's coming up now? I want to let you know that pretty soon we're going to be going into, because I want you to stick around for this, we're going to announce the giveaways. We'll be announcing the giveaways. So you want to stick around and see if that's you who might be receiving something from EnChroma. Also, very important, the Q&A's going to be coming up at the end of the show, which we'll open up, tell you about a little bit about that later. But right now, we're going to move into a very special area. I told you that EnChroma was going beyond color, that they've been working on something for a while, and now they're ready to reveal it. It's really groundbreaking, and we're going to move into that area right now. We're going to bring Mark back, COO. Mark, take it away with this. I'm shaking my head. Go ahead.
Thanks, Don. As I said before, I represent a lot of people at EnChroma that made this new lens technology happen, and from the science and the research and from marketing to manufacturing. This is called LX technology. We named the lenses this LX series. And the idea started when Andy Schmieder, a founder of the company and a co-inventor of the colorblind glasses, thought about how one could help those that are completely colorblind. So I know I'm digressing a little bit here. These are people that see only in black, white, and gray. And these are individuals with a genetic condition called achromatopsia. That means vision without color. Now, they're extremely light sensitive, called photophobic. Even a little light is sometimes too much. So Andy combined a way to make lenses using this knowledge of color, bouncing these ideas off people to make them extremely dark for these achromatopsic individuals, yet still visually bright when someone wears it. And that allows them to be able to see with improved contrast. That's what's unique about these lenses. It is a combination of managing glare, brightness, and still improving contrast, bumping the difference of colors. Now, that need for control of glare and improving contrast at the same time is actually an everyday need for people with low vision, those that are visually impaired, and for the age-related eye conditions, think diabetic retinopathy and glaucoma and macular degeneration. All of those conditions, as we age, we become more light sensitive. I always hear people talking about at nighttime with oncoming headlights. When you age, colors get dull, and contrast, that ability to see edges, the three-dimensionality of life. For example, being able to see the curb that's gray and the asphalt of the road when you're stepping off the curb to cross in the crosswalk, when that road is also gray, it's really hard to see those two differences. So that's what I'm talking about. And if you're that kind of person, that's what this new series of lenses is for. Again, it's called LX Technology in Lenses. It's on our website, and I'll describe that in a minute. And EnChroma it combines this unique method to make you so comfortable when you put it on. Like pulling up an old pair of jeans. It is so comfortable in bright and any annoying light. As soon as you put it on, yet it delivers better contrast while it improves color. So if you have a condition that makes you light sensitive, and when you put on sunglasses that you buy, and those sunglasses create this kind of haze, flatten color, make contrast difficult, these are the glasses that have been designed to, in fact, put all of that together. And it uses our knowledge of how to manage color for the colorblind. We've reduced the choices to 4. And so I have a kit here. Let me see if I can get it to actually show. There we go. I'll put it in front of me. There it is. And so if you go to our website, EnChroma.com, and scroll down on the homepage, you'll see an announcement for LX lenses. They go from very light to super dark in 4 different versions. And that makes it easier for you to choose which works better for you. And so choosing them, it's a matter of how sensitive you are to light, the glare, and the environment in which you'll wear them. So it's easy to know which one to try or buy. I've said enough for the moment. I sent Dawn a set of these because it's often difficult to describe in words what you've been hearing in all the videos from people for our glasses for colorblindness. And so, Dawn, tell us your experience, because I didn't prep you with any of this information before I sent them.
None of it at all. I want to try and, I want to be able to try and articulate what this experience has been for me, because I was approached because of my work with Snap Judgment and NPR storytelling and my ability to host events. And then through a unique set of circumstances, they discovered I was interested in vision based on my time in college working with the visually impaired. And the first pair of glasses they sent out were the glasses for improving your color vision. I was thinking, that's pretty cool, because I looked at some bougainvillea, I think that's the correct pronunciation, with the glasses, and it was clearly much sharper. I'm a man of age, I'm 60 years old, and I put them on, I'm like, oh, that's much sharper. That's really nice, that's really nice. And it was very cool. I'm like, in red, the red stoplight was sharper. It was very nice. But what I didn't expect is what happened with LX. I didn't expect it at all. So here's the situation. For years, I've been walking around. I think it's got to be the last 7, 8 years, maybe 10, that I close my left eye tight because it's very sensitive to light. I walk around, people like, Don, who you, Popeye? Hey, Olive. Popeye the Sailor Man with this one eye shut everywhere. If I look into the sun, I got to close that eye. If I'm looking into up a hill and the sun's there, I got to close that eye. I have to because it's so sensitive to glare. So I woke up early one morning after I got the glasses and thinking, okay, yeah, they're going to send me the glasses. It'll be nice. It'll be great. You know, I'm not colorblind, but I do have this extreme glare issue in my left eye. And so what I did is I stood in my driveway and the sun was bright. The sun was rising. So it was directly on the horizon right at my eyes. And I covered my right eye without the glasses and automatically this left eye starts shutting down. I cover my left eye and it can stand it much better. Far better. But this left eye, if I just look, it automatically goes like, we can't do this, and it shuts down. And then I put on the glasses. I put the glasses on, and I was like, whoa, whoa. I didn't have to shut my eye down. The glare was broken way down, and like, eye closed, open. And it was clear that these were helping. The other thing it impacted was that in the bright sunlight, I can see, okay, there's a tree, there's some trees behind that, there's more trees behind that, and they're all green. And I could still figure it out. But with the glasses on, my judgment for distance and color difference between those shades of green was far more sharp. And so just the other day, I headed out to get the mail. And I walked out. And it was like, you know, I'm in LA. It was 97,000 degrees outside. And I go to the mailbox, and I'm walking to the mailbox. It's a distance from the front door to the mailbox. And I realized I was walking with one eye closed. I said, hey, I don't have to do this. I went inside. I grabbed my glasses, and I was like, time to get the mail. No issue at all. I don't know what people do to establish themselves as fully credible when they're saying something worked in the position of me hosting the show. But I can tell you, in all honesty, on everything I've known, these glasses work for what's happening. And I guess I'm clearly aging to where there's some problem. There's some problem with my left eye. And I can tell you in all honesty that these glasses helped and helped immensely. And I got the box of the different levels. And so I know now I'll be able to go somewhere with my love to Carmel or wherever we go, and I don't have to do this because regular polarized glasses don't do it. So I stopped buying sunglasses for the reason because they won't do what these can do. But now I have these, and so now there. That's all I have to say.
Thanks so much, Don. I think if you look at the various videos and the people that you've met, the commitment to combine science for eyewear in a new way for particular individuals that really have need and may have been not thought of as being such a requirement. And so for people who are colorblind, you've seen that kind of experience. And those are real experiences. And there are probably near 20,000 of those videos online from our users. In this case for LX, the population is aging. We all know that there will be more older adults, in fact, than kids. certainly by the year 2050. It's in fact going to double. And a third of those older adults have eye conditions that affect the way you see.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it may affect your acuity, how sharp you see, and that can be fixed by a prescription. And so seeing your local optometrist, ophthalmologist, allows you to get a prescription to help sharpen your vision. But the reduction in your ability to be sensitive to the contrast and your dulling of color takes away other components of your vision. And having an opportunity now in a new kind of lens to in fact put that back together gives you the opportunity for more functional vision. It's not going to fix your condition or your disease. It's not going to cure any of that. But if we can return to you more functional vision, that's the goal of this product.
Right.
I'd like to invite you to try it. And there is a special code to try it at a reduced cost. And that cost here, that code is LXTECH50. And if you go to EnChroma.com, and this offer ends tomorrow at midnight Pacific, 11:59 to be exact. It'll allow you to see and read about and participate in this opportunity. So I invite you all to do that. You must know someone who has these kinds of situations where bright light in all kinds of situations, whether it's at night or during the day, here are in fact 3 good solutions for you and a 4th one for those very special conditions. Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. People, I can't tell you enough how much these glasses impact me to have a moment with these LX glasses. That's my issue, glare. It's not color blindness. They have great things to offer in that area. But now they've broken ground, going beyond color into impacting your actual vision, improving. And I am heading towards, some level of high blindness in that left eye in bright light. But this is definitely impacting me. So now that I got my emotions in check, I can move on now to the big deal. Tony has a big deal, a big discount right now that he's going to bring on. CEO Tony, bring it up.
Thanks, Don. Yeah. And yeah, we got to get you some nicer frames too, because those, I know that we showed that with the fit over frame, the LX. But yeah, that comes in a whole variety of them, so you don't have to sacrifice style for the protection too.
Oh, and that's good to know. That's really good to know.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd like to thank everyone in the company. It's been a long time getting that product out, and this is the launch day. And as you said, we're really excited about moving beyond just working with color blindness, but and that, what I thought was a crazy question, but was wound up being a great amazing product that we think can help people just like the CX product does with color blindness. But yeah, as you said, on to the really big deal. And what we wanted for this is to figure out a way to get people into the product as cheaply as we could for the for the lowest price. Our most popular frame, our most popular lens, the Ellis with the CX3, $159. They're certified refurbished. I promise you, you can't tell the difference between this and the product which is sold as new. We've done a really, for this we want to make sure we culled everything. So these are coming out of, about 1,000 of them that we've got set aside. So right now you can get this for $159. If you go to enchroma.co.uk, you can get it for £125, and delivered free delivery, and free returns, and no problems with duties and such, and VAT need to be payable at the door. It's VAT included. We really hope this product expands the base of people who can use this, who can experience all of this, because you've seen what a real emotional impact it is with people. That's behind, you know, this accessibility push, accessibility internationally, accessibility to more people, you know, economically. You know, we want to really thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And I hope this, you know, can help make it a little more special. It means a lot. People from all over the world tuning in to hear our story.
From all over, from Singapore to Sweden. And I see it here on the screen. So right now, folks, get ready. It's now time to announce the big winners of the giveaway. The winners are, let's take a look at a montage of some of the wonderful moments connected to EnChroma. So thank you for joining us on this 10-year anniversary of Color with EnChroma. I want to thank all our viral video stars, scientists, founders, CEOs. Note that you can go to EnChroma.com and find some of these deals. I'm glad we're able to announce some of them. And please remember the LX as well. The help when it helps the vision. I didn't expect that at all, and it impacted me, as you can see, very deeply. Thank you guys so much. Really, thanks for coming out. To Atlee, Kaysen, Bill Reed, Opie, all the folks that joined us today. We're really thankful and really appreciate it. So please, if you hang around right now in this room on YouTube, you'll be able to access the Q&A process, which will be starting shortly. And shortly we'll be joined.
Hey, Mark, do you have a question to read?
I do. Hi. So I have a question from David W. Here in the US. He says, does colorblindness change with time? And the answer is no. This kind of common form of red-green colorblindness is something that's genetic. It is what you have. It is what it is. And the color does change with age, but not as you might ascribe to colorblindness. So colorblindness is you're born with it, and you have it your whole life.
Well, there's a bit of a difference though with acquired colorblindness, though, right, Mark? Like
sure.
Some people if you've had exposure to a lot of toxins, and sort of on the level of like if you worked in a paint factory in the former Soviet Union, I've heard of people getting a lot of getting environmental exposure to it. Is that true?
That is true. There are particular drugs that may change the way in which you see color. There are reactions too. Also, when you talk about acquired color blindness, Aging is an acquired color blindness because the lens inside the eye becomes yellow as you age. Starting around age 10, it absorbs ultraviolet to protect your retina, and that causes the lens itself to get yellow. Over time, that reduces your sensitivity to blue, and that's an acquired kind of color blindness. That kind of color blindness that's blue-yellow is called tritan, and again, there are drugs and certain vision conditions that might make you tritan. So, yeah. Good ad, Tony. Thanks. There have been some questions that have been pushed to me. Second question is, how accurate are EnChroma glasses in correcting the colors that a colorblind person sees? So given what you've seen as from the experiences that some of our customers have described, they talk about, are these the colors that you see when they look at the people that are around them? And so this question from Michael said, how accurate are these colors? And that sort of varies from person to person, because remember, some people are mildly, moderately, strongly, or extremely colorblind. And that may change the actual reality of the actual color. And so that's a hard question for us to answer because we can't be inside the head of that person. But there are two recent studies that were presented at the Color Vision Science Symposium in Latvia, and by some renowned scientists. One of those has just been published in the magazine Current Biology. It was done at UC Davis in Davis, California, and INSERM in France. And those studies, the first one, the UC Davis study, proved that there was color improvement to be accurate color in a new way of measuring it. And secondly, they found what some of our customers have told us anecdotally over the years, and that is that when they take the glasses off after wearing them for a period of time, the colors that they're able to see persist, meaning that almost like when you stare at one color and look away at something that is a white screen, you see a complementary color. You see an after image. So these individuals in the study said that the color improvement that they were seeing actually stayed, even after they took the glasses off for a short period of time. And so that teaches us that there is, as Don McPherson was explaining at the beginning, a series of processing that's happening in the brain for the way in which the brain uses these new sets of wavelengths, this new ratio of colors to allow a person to see more accurately. And that sort of leads into a bit of the next question, which is from Michael B. He says, I'm colorblind, have always had difficulty explaining the condition to normal vision people. It's never really bothered me until recently when my 5-year-old started asking questions. He says, do you have any advice for having this conversation with my son? And as we said originally, 5 years old is probably the right time to talk about color. Kids have developed enough to be able to name colors and have a really good sense of that. It may be best to illustrate that. And so on the EnChroma.com website, there are a variety of images that show what it's like to simulate what someone sees when they're colorblind. And that's perhaps a way to begin to explain visually to a child how you actually do see color with and without our glasses. And because color is such an interesting discussion, think about the way we describe color in words. If I said to you fire engine red and you had typical color vision, you sort of know what that color is. If I described sienna, the words we use are really rich in defining color. And so for a 5-year-old, think about the words you use, and sometimes illustrating it, showing images is probably better. But as your 5-year-old grows, then the description as they learn the descriptive words about color really helps in this communication. So I hope that answered your question. And for the two Michaels and David who submitted these 3 questions that I got, thanks very much.
And Mark, you're done with your section, correct?
Yes.
And
unless there are others come up.
There'll be more that comes up. There's another question we've got from, let me get my video on. Okay, from Cake Galactic. And Cake Galactic has asked us a question: if somebody can know what kind of color it is when someone points it out, but they didn't know it before, what does this mean? For example, if you thought it was gray, but it turns out to be green or pink.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because, you know, we did this thing last year called the Balloon Challenge. You've probably seen in a lot of the videos that we send out a set of 6 balloons, and they're red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. So I got this idea that we could extract some interesting data from that. So what we did is we did this balloon challenge where we asked people to videotape, preferably outdoors, whoever is colorblind, name the balloons before they put the glasses on and then after. And what we found out was that people most of the time made 4 to 5 errors in the naming. They misidentified red, green, orange, and they mixed up blue and purple. So that's very interesting. Why? Because to answer that question about if it's something that they identify as one color and then are told, they put the glasses on and say, is that green? Well, that only has validity when the object is something that doesn't have an assigned color name, like balloons or Legos or M&Ms. But if you're talking about the green of nature, well, that's chlorophyll. And since they were children, they've known that that is green. So they look at it and say, it's green. That's not really a valid test. Now, if they start noticing that there's a different shade of green for all these different leaves, that's completely valid. But if they look at an octagonal sign that says STOP, they know it's red, even though they've never seen it. So you can't really ask them to tell you what that color is and it have much validity. But with the balloons, there are no assigned color names. So that was from that we were able to extract a lot of very useful data to show that people are improving their color perception and that they do have the associated color name somewhere in their brain. So that's, to me, it was a good verification that people are indeed seeing the correct color. When they say, that's purple, they are seeing purple and not just randomly choosing a word, right? Because when they see blue and purple, somebody who's colorblind, they can't tell them apart. They just might have a different brightness level. But the glasses convey that additional information, like Mark mentioned, that purple is a combination of blue and red, but they don't have good perception of red. So now they can differentiate that, oh, that thing is blue and this thing is, and they hunt through their mind and they go purple. And they can make these really subtle name assignments. They can call certain things magenta, periwinkle, lavender. It's absolutely amazing. So yes, you can develop a sense of correct color naming very, very quickly. Now, in the study that Mark alluded to in cell biology, they actually showed that you don't have to wear the glasses to show improvement. In fact, all of their post-testing was done without wearing the glasses. And they showed that people who they had established a baseline with could, after wearing the glasses for up to 2 weeks, improve their perception of contrast between colors by about 75%.
Okay, is this related to games?
Yes, exactly. So the idea behind this is that at a neural level, you have a mechanism that's, let's say it's tuned to red. But these people have had a weakened sense of red their entire life. So the most parsimonious explanation of how you would use that mechanism would be that you would basically increase the gain in that mechanism so that the brightest red you've ever seen now becomes 100%. Right? Even though you can't really see that it's intensely red, that's your version of red. Now you put the glasses on, suddenly the signal is swapping. So that's like so intense, right? And it turns out that there must be some reestablishment of that gain mechanism, so it doesn't have to be as big, so you can still fully utilize the whole range, but it's just reestablishing itself. Now, why that's important is that when your brain, for the person who's colorblind without the glasses, establishes that gain, it doesn't just boost up signal, it boosts up noise, right? So now, with these glasses on, the signal gets boosted, but the noise doesn't get boosted. So this is very new stuff. It's only been out, the cell biology paper came out in July. It's generated a tremendous amount of interest in the vision science community. And I think there's going to be a lot of follow-on studies because people are talking about using this as some sort of therapy now for people who are color deficient. Well, if you can get this into a school environment, then you potentially have the chance to give children the ability to perceive colors and they don't have to struggle, have to use all that extra energy to try to have, as you said, a workaround. So it's exciting times.
I always found it interesting that people would hunt for teal and salmon in particular, those two, as they were like learning things, they're doing their walk around, they're seeing things for the first time. They just want to attach those labels, teal and salmon, to stuff because they're sort of like mysterious colors that could go any direction. And just, yeah, that learning, that establishment of what these more complex colors are over the course of a half hour was just amazing to watch.
Wow. So I think we've got Bill coming in.
So the first question I have is from Aaron H. from the United States. And he wants to know, color blindness can restrict your military career options vastly, as many specialties require full color vision. Will EnChroma start giving military discounts on glasses? And the answer is yes. We actually already offer a military discount. And the way to get it set up is just to send an email requesting that we set it up for you to support@enchroma.com. And we'll be glad to take care of it for you. And thank you for your service. The next question I have is from Corey F. from the United States, who wants to know, is there a lens I can put over my glasses to see what I can expect if I order the prescription version? And there is a way to do that, yes. We sell a frame style that's made to wear right on top of your existing prescription glasses so that you can see what they'd be like if they were made with lenses in your prescription. And you can see those on the website by looking at our fit over styles. Any frame style that's labeled as a fit over is made to wear right on top of your existing glasses. And it's a great way to get the effective prescription lenses without having to wait for them to be specially made in your prescription. All right, one more. I have a Patrick H, and he's in the United States. And he says, I did not see good results with my EnChroma glasses. Is there a way to determine a better fit for my type of color blindness? We're sorry to hear that your first pair didn't work out well for you. There's definitely ways to target them to make sure that you're getting the best pair for your type of vision. For best results, we always suggest starting out by taking our free color blindness test on the website to rate the strength and type of your color vision deficiency. Then once you have that information, we recommend that you buy an outdoor pair with the lens that the test recommends to you. Feel free to contact us directly for more tips, and we'll give you personalized advice on what would be the best fit for your type of color blindness. That's everything I have. I believe Karen is up next.
Yes.
Step on in.
Got some questions here. I have a question from an Ernesto Villarreal. He asks, what is the percentage of success in seeing colors among EnChroma users? And the answer to that is 80%. And then the next question from Johnny Jenny from the UK, he's asking, are the glasses safe to wear full-time? And the answer to that too is yes, they are safe to wear full-time as sunglasses. And even if you have an indoor pair, you can wear them full-time as well. And Jackie Chambers from the US, she says, she's asking, my son is 8 years old and colorblind. In school, they often use color as a tool to distinguish letter and number recognition. He has not tried EnChroma glasses. Have your glasses improved significantly enough to be used indoors? This could help my son tremendously with his education. And the answer is yes, our indoor lenses have come a long way, and I think the indoor DT is a good choice. We released that just last year, and you can ask customer support for specific advice about your child's school situation, and you may want to ask the head of the school just for permission for your child to wear his indoor glasses during class hours.
All right, so there's a question from Gavin D. It's what's up with those pink glasses? You see them sold by Pilestone, you see other ones, Color Light, you know, they're pink or they've got a reflective coating on the top of them. What's up with them, Don?
Well, it's not a new idea. There was a very famous British scientist named James Clerk Maxwell who got very interested in color blindness, and in the 1830s he made a pair of glasses that basically do exactly what those glasses do, which is allow you to tell the difference between colors by changing the relative brightness between colors that are predominantly green and colors that are predominantly red. For instance, if you put on a pink pair of glasses, it suppresses the brightness of the green. So things that are green look dark, and it enhances the brightness of things that are red. It doesn't change the color, the chromaticity at all. It just changes the relative brightness. Now, yeah, that can be used as a tool to help you differentiate things. Like if you're trying to follow a cable and you want to go to the other end and you have to remember like, oh, that one's bright and that one's dark. But it doesn't actually improve your color performance. It just gives you some information by taking away other information. So we are aware of that product out there, and you know, I guess we feel that it's not really doing much, and we feel like a lot of the claims made about it are exaggerated because it doesn't have any science backing it, unlike our product, and it hasn't gone through a clinical study of any sort.
Can you mention what the UC Davis study found as well? Because I think that's kind of interesting related to this.
I will say that at the conference where that was presented, which I attended in Latvia last summer, the International Color Vision Society biannual meeting, there was another paper presentation presented by some researchers at the University of Sheffield in England, in which they modeled our glasses basically took our glasses and modeled what would the effect be on a set of colors. And they found that our glasses, as advertised, boost the apparent saturation of colors. So we've had two very strong pieces of independent verification in the last year, showing that our glasses indeed do improve color performance. So this is big news because of course, when there's a lot of, this is an emotional, perceptual experience. So it's easy to dismiss it as being, oh, those are just actors. Those people are not really seeing the real colors, on and on. And we've been sort of quiet about all that because, well, we'd be self-promoting. So it's really good for us as a company. It's good for the end user to realize that there's now independent scientific voices. Some of the best people in the field have come out and done very, very detailed studies to show that the glasses do perform as advertised.
The neuroplasticity points that they made were really interesting. And to your point, Kent, yeah, what they found is that the other types of lenses just didn't have that same effect, that even if people can put it on and, you know, oh, they can see the little dots in the Ishihara, you know, it's a luminance cue. It's not actually doing something to their brain to help you see colors better. Yeah, so that was a really interesting article. Thanks, Don.
Yes, well, Tony, you mentioned the Ishihara. It's an interesting thing because you should explain to people it's the plate, the test that has a hidden symbol.
Right. It's the dots with the number hidden on it. I'm sure you've all had to take this test before, the Ishihara plate test. Yeah, explain maybe a little bit how luminance cues with that and what it and why why it works with 100% of people, whereas ours, the better product only works with 80% of colorblind people.
The answer I would have is quite simple, because there's a lot of people who promote their broadband pink filters as being something that will allow you to pass the Ishihara plate test. But the sad truth is you can't wear any sort of filter when you take the Ishihara plate test. Now, why does this test even exist? Well, if you're a first responder, you're flying an airplane, a train, there's a whole list of occupations where you have to have really good color vision. And so that you have to pass this test. And there are people who have wanted to be fly a plane since they were a kid or be a fireman, and they're restricted. They can't do it. So there's a naturally this desire, and people are being deluded that they can get these glasses and pass the test, because quite frankly, you cannot take the test with the glasses on. However, the most recent study in cell biology shows that there is a learning effect with our glasses, which you cannot get with broadband pink filters. So that raises the question, if you got these glasses and you trained your eye on color for some length of time, could you improve on the Ishihara plate test without wearing the glasses?
Without wearing our glasses, yeah.
Yeah, so it's uncharted territory, but like I said, there's a lot of interest in that result because it does show that there's some sort of a learning or training effect, showing that the brain is amazingly plastic.
Right, yeah, and I think we saw it with that earlier point I made about people labeling things salmon and teal and things like that. You're starting to learn, and so if you're training to run a marathon, you got to get that practice, and if you're going to be taking an Ishihara test, it makes sense that having experience looking at these subtle gradations might actually help you on it if you're a borderline case. But it's something that I haven't put a lot of focus into yet. But it'll be interesting to see where the science comes out.
I believe Karen was going to hop in with some questions to ask the panel.
Yes, I have some questions. A couple that I can answer, but definitely some that I can hand off to our vision experts here. So Zach Peterson from our live chat today, he asked if we could make the derby frame with indoor lenses. And I want to tell you, keep an eye out, especially as we get into the holiday season, because that is usually a holiday season item. And then, let's see here, Aditya Sher, again from the live chat, he asked, would outdoor ones work for strong dew tan? And yes, they will work, specifically the CX3 Sun lenses. Those are for mild to strong deutans and mild to strong protans. And I'm going to squeeze in another one. This one's from Todd Ryan, again from our live chat. This one is, I understand we have 3 cones, but does the one that is sending the incorrect signal have an aberrant chemical receptor inside of it that makes it respond to the different wavelength? If one of the science experts wants to chime in, Mark or Don McPherson.
I can take a stab at that. It's a genetic mutation where it's a hybrid. So let's just look at there's a slightly different wavelength sensitivity to the green sensitive and the red sensitive photopigments. But in spite of that, you can imagine these things as being 2 kind of Gaussian bell curves, right? And they overlap each other normally. Now, in the mutated version, one of them is moved closer to the other, so the overlap becomes more and more. Now, that's just due to the wavelength peak sensitivity, right? So it's a hybridization where you can have different degrees, like Mark was saying. You can have the normal separation, or you can have this overlap, and it can get extremely severe so that they're almost on top of each other. Now, imagine if you're a photon and you have a certain wavelength associated with you, and you hit both of them. You hit both the photopigments and stimulate them at the exact same amount, you're not going to get a difference between the two signals. So the red minus green component of your visual system doesn't come up with a number. But if they're in normal position and it stimulates one over the other, now you have a huge difference. So, and as a curious little side effect to that, this is some sort of a evolutionary process, because you know originally there was a blue sensitive cone, and then there was a red sensitive cone, and then a green sensitive cone. That's how it evolved. Now the red sensitive cone in some people, about half the population is starting to shift out to longer wavelengths over time, over millions of years. So humans' color perception is improving.
Right. Well, that helped us choose ripe fruit, right?
Yeah,
it was originally for primates to be able to detect the ripeness of fruit as the fruit color changed, so they didn't have to waste energy and climb up into a tree to see if it was ready to eat. I mean, birds are the same way. Birds have very good color vision, and they know when the fruit is ripe. You've probably seen this when a tree gets ripe fruit, suddenly there's 1,000 birds in it, right? They can see it, they have great vision. It's what biologists call spectral tuning, and it's an evolutionary process that seems to be in concert with the tree or the plant itself. They're constantly evolving themselves to be better at what they do. So humans have this throwback gene that would probably eliminate them from the gene pool if they weren't humans. And we're here to
What's interesting too is if you learn anything about statistics in the optical industry, it's always a bell curve. You know, it's like, what is a graph of the severity of just refraction error, normal like glasses? It's a bell curve. And for us, it's the same thing. It's severity of color blindness. It's a bell curve. And what really helps us is that there are only 13 different phenotypes that code for this genetic issue. And so, when I talked earlier about first inventing this testing machine, what we were concerned about is that you'd need a testing machine in every OD, and then you'd go in, and just like you get your eye tested for prescription, you'd have to get your eye tested for color blindness. And you'd figure out, and we'd make it for you, and it would be a very special thing. But the truth of the matter is they fit in these buckets. And so for people where it's effective for us, that good part of the bell curve for us, it's a couple different genetic coding mistakes that are common through people. So it actually helps us a lot. It's not like it's just like with refraction of glasses where it's just a constant drift. It's these steps. Which have been real helpful.
Well, it is kind of a curious thing that we can have a limited number of versions of the glasses, and it seems to improve all the phenotypes, color vision, and that's probably because the mechanisms have a gain to them. So any improvement in signal ratios helps the signal be intensified without intensifying the noise. So the system becomes less noisy just by filtering out certain wavelengths of light. And it doesn't matter if you have one type of phenotype or one that's slightly shifted relative to that, it still works.
Yeah. And our brains really are comparing voltages. It's not an issue of amperage where you'd need, just to crank up the light that goes into your eye. Like it's a way that our brain figured out how to get 10 million colors off of 3 channels, comparing red and green, one of them comparing blue against yellow, which is summation of everything else. 3 channels into 10 million colors, whereas 2 channels is something like 10,000. So it's pretty interesting the way that we've kind of hijacked this system, and just goes to the real inventiveness of what you developed, 10 years ago.
Anyone still around? Go to EnChroma.com for any additional information on some of the deals presented, as well as upcoming inventions and knowledge. Help yourself. Check your eyes. Get your eyes checked. I found out through this process I needed some glasses. Okay? Check it out. Bye-bye.